She was rejected on a blind date, until a billionaire walked in and asked her to marry him. The rejection happened quietly, which somehow made it worse. Maya sat across from Daniel in the softly lit café, her fingers wrapped around a mug she no longer wanted. He didn't look angry or cruel. In fact, he looked relieved, like someone finally saying out loud what he'd been thinking since the waiter took their order. "You're really nice," he said, offering an apologetic smile. "But I don't think this is going to work." Maya nodded, trained by years of polite disappointment. "Of course, no worries." Daniel glanced at his watch, already half standing. "I should probably go. My friends are waiting." And just like that, the blind date her cousin had insisted on ended after 22 minutes. No dramatic insult, no spilled drink, just rejection served lukewarm, like forgotten coffee. Maya waited until he left before exhaling. She stared at the empty chair, wondering, again, what invisible flaw people seemed to notice so quickly. She wasn't unattractive. She had a stable job as a freelance graphic designer, paid her rent on time, laughed at the right moments. Yet something always fell short. She reached for her bag, determined to leave before the humiliation fully settled, when the cafe door opened. The man who walked in didn't belong to the quiet Tuesday afternoon. He was tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a charcoal coat that looked tailored rather than bought. His presence shifted the room, as if the air itself paused to acknowledge him. Conversation softened. The barista straightened. Maya noticed him only because he was walking directly toward her table. "Excuse me," he said, his voice calm, deep, and unhurried. "Is this seat taken?" She blinked. "No, I mean, yes, no." He just left. A corner of his mouth lifted. Good timing. Then, before she could protest, he sat down. Up close, he was even more unsettling. Dark eyes sharp with intelligence, a faint scar near his eyebrow that hinted at a life far more interesting than hers. Maya's instinct screamed that this was a mistake, some bizarre continuation of a terrible day. "I don't usually do this," she said quickly. "If you're looking for, I know who you are," he interrupted gently. Her heart skipped. "You do?" "Yes. Maya Elwood, designer, eldest daughter, drinks too much oat milk coffee and pretends she doesn't care when dates end early." She stiffened. "That's unsettling." He didn't apologize. Instead, he studied her like a puzzle finally found. "My name is Alexander Royce." The name landed heavily. Even Maya knew it. Royce Industries. Tech. Real estate. Energy. Billionaire. Media shy. Occasionally featured on magazine covers she never read. She laughed. Once, sharply. "You've got the wrong person." "I don't," he said. "I've been looking for you." "For me?" Her voice dropped. "Why?" Alexander leaned back, hands folded. "Because in 3 weeks, my family will try to force me into a marriage that benefits our board, not my life. And because you are the only person who meets every condition required to stop that." She stared at him. "I'm sorry, did you just say marriage?" "Yes." She stood up so fast her chair scraped the floor. "Absolutely not. I don't know what kind of game this is, but..." "Sit," he said, not commanding, just certain. She didn't know why she listened. Alexander continued, unfazed. "This would be a legal arrangement. 12 months. You'd be compensated generously. No expectations beyond public appearances and living arrangements. At the end, we part ways." Maya searched his face for humor. Found none. "This is insane," she whispered. "You don't even know me." "I know enough," he replied. "You didn't beg the man who rejected you. You didn't insult him either. You accepted disappointment with dignity. That tells me more than resumes ever could." Her throat tightened. "You watched that?" "Yes." "Why me?" Alexander hesitated, for the first time. "Because you looked real. And because you have nothing to gain by betraying me." Maya laughed softly, bitterly. "Except money." He nodded. "Except money." Silence stretched between them. Outside, the city moved on, unaware that her life teetered on the edge of absurdity. "Let's say," she said slowly, "that I even consider this. What's the catch?" He met her gaze. "My world is not gentle. You'll be judged, criticized, doubted. They'll assume you're temporary." She swallowed. "And you?" "I won't," he said. Something in his certainty unsettled her more than the proposal itself. "Why does this feel like a terrible idea?" She murmured. "Because it is," Alexander said. "But terrible ideas are sometimes the most honest." Maya thought of Daniel's polite rejection. Of the countless almosts. Of the small, safe life she'd carefully built. "Give me 24 hours, she said. He stood, sliding a card across the table. "Take 48. When he left, the cafe seemed smaller. 2 days later, Maya signed the contract with a hand that trembled only slightly. The months that followed were a whirlwind: penthouse views, designer gowns, headlines that called her a gold digger and worse. She learned to smile without flinching, to walk beside Alexander as if she belonged there. What she hadn't expected was the quiet moments. Late-night conversations, shared laughter over burnt toast. The way he listened, really listened, when she spoke about her work. Somewhere between pretending and surviving, something shifted. One evening, 6 months in, Maya found Alexander standing on the balcony, city lights reflecting in his eyes. "This was supposed to be simple," she said. "I know. Do you ever wish you hadn't walked into that cafe?" He turned to her. "Every decision I've ever regretted involved not walking in." Her chest ached. "Alexander, this was never just about appearances," he admitted. "I asked you to marry me because I needed a shield. I stayed because I found a partner." Maya took a breath. "What happens when the contract ends?" He stepped closer. "Then I ask you again. Without money, without pressure." She smiled, tears blurring her vision. "You're terrible at normal dating." He smiled back. "I'm hoping you'll forgive me." Once, she'd been rejected in a quiet cafe. Now, she realized, she'd been chosen, finally, and fully.